Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Debate. With me, I have Lois, undisclosed last name. We're going to keep him as Lois. And we have something very, very interesting that's hitting the millennials. Why he is for marijuana, medical marijuana. This is a issue that just hits every single young generation, the Bernie Sanders. So, explain to me what marijuana is for us grandparents that never were exposed to marijuana in my days.
Well, you were exposed to it, but
No.
it was exposed to you as marijuana. You were given propaganda to believe that marijuana was a substance that would make you go crazy. That's where the term reefer madness was made. A movie also came out that tried to show the symptoms of smoking, but there's a patent. Don't know what it is exactly, but the government recently has been saying that cannabis is the medical term, more medical term. Marijuana was made, that word was made to frighten people. Cannabis is a plant. It's very, very close. Its genetics are close to tomato. The government has said that there is no medical use for cannabis.
Correct. I come from the medical field. I was in the medical field for 30 years, so I understand we have 5 schedules in the medical field. Marijuana is known as a Schedule 1. Why millennials think should be changed to a Schedule, let's say 5?
No, we say it should be off. It should be taken off one of those schedules.
It has no medical use. A Schedule 1 has no medical use. If you look under the 5 schedules for the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, we have marijuana as a Schedule 1, has no medical purpose. But this was back as a Schedule 1. Now my question is, to all the new generations, and this is California, so it was introduced into California, and it's legitimate. Should we go back and approach the DEA to get rid of the Schedule 1 under marijuana and give it medical use?
The thing is, we shouldn't go back. Going back is saying that we are devolving. I say we should revise where we are right now with marijuana. I myself have had epilepsy, seizures, even slight depression. I ran into this beautiful plant by the most worst terms possible. I was very young. I was, smoking in the back streets. But that's only because that's the only way I could get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's a Schedule 1. It's worse. It's higher up, right, than coke, heroin.
Well, it has under a Schedule 1, it has no medical purpose. Schedule 2 drugs do have a medical use. They're highly addictive. Then you have your opiums and your codeines and all the way to Schedule 5. But marijuana is known as a recreational drugs, such as peyote, such as all those are Schedule 1. The medical community has not found any purpose for medical marijuana. But then I see CNN and I see Dr. Sunday Gupta made a huge report on Charlotte's Web. I don't know if you ever had a chance to see Charlotte's Web,
yes,
where the little girl had 300 seizures. And I actually came exposed to that. And I learned that that little girl was actually cured from her seizures, from going 300 seizures a day to only having a few during the week. So maybe are you telling me that maybe the medical community should start looking at marijuana in a different way?
I believe they should start researching more. Since the government put marijuana as a Schedule 1, no research has been done on it since. Mm-hmm. And I believe that is what has been holding back our progress.
It was known as an illegal drug. But now for Californians, and I'm speaking for Californians only, I'm not speaking for Texas or other states where marijuana is illegal. California, we do have a proposition that passed and it became legal. So we can have, how many plants can we have?
Around 16. With
Is it 16 or 6 plants?
It's 6 adults, 16 premature.
Mm-hmm. And there's also home remedies, right? I was doing a little bit of research. I'm not a big fan. I'm not promoting in any way marijuana yet.
Marijuana.
I've never used it. I've never smoked in my entire life. But been doing research on it, and Colorado becoming the other state that grows a lot of marijuana, and it's very profitable. I mean, these people are making millions.
And that's the thing too. That market has been there this entire time, and with the scheduling of marijuana, that market has been given to the black market, and there are drug dealers that are profiting. Not only are they making money, but they're not paying taxes on it.
They should be paying taxes in California, right? Because we do have a lot of dispensaries. If you go to Venice Beach, all you see is dispensaries. You don't see the beach anymore.
It's very
You
popular.
see dispensaries with the medical marijuana logo, which is?
Usually Green Cross. Or
Okay, so it's not the Red Cross anymore. It is the Green Cross.
It is a Green Cross. It's just...
Now, a question for you millennials. As you know, there's an age gap between both of us.
Mm-hmm.
What draws you guys to medical marijuana or just marijuana itself?
Well, nowadays, there's not much to do, to be quite honest. We can go to school, or we can go out and live in the streets. But marijuana is this balance that I see that can stabilize both my intentions and my thoughts. Marijuana, like you said, is recreational. There's a lot of depression out there, more with the use of the internet and our phones. The way we communicate, it's so much easier to communicate both positively and negatively. But it's much easier to be negative, and that negativity only attracts more negativity. But with marijuana, we're attracted to it because it has this community that's just so lively and just happy. One of the most stereotypical things about a person that smokes is they're laughing all the time. They're not paying attention to what's going on around them. They're their own person, is the way it seems.
Okay, so let's go back to finding a job. Now, marijuana, when they do the drug screens and it comes back positive, should they be denied a job?
Well, that depends on... That's the thing too. Right now, we don't know how to differentiate the types of smokers. There are the ones that just use it recreationally, and then there's the ones that use it medically. But then there's also that third category that abuses. How you become or how you can differentiate is not very clear yet. But when it comes to finding out whether or not, or when it comes to whether or not you should be allowed to work and still use, that's still very
Iffy?
iffy.
Iffy? Let's say in the medical field.
It definitely should not be in the workplace, though.
Okay,
But, yeah.
I come from the medical field, so let's say somebody smokes marijuana and goes into the OR room,
Oh, okay,
the operating
yeah.
room.
No.
Okay, so we have two standards now.
Yes.
Two standards.
There's using...
Should someone be operating on someone that's high?
No.
Or someone that's high be operating on someone, on a regular
someone
patient?
That's high should never be operating. No, someone that's high should never be operating anything. The workplace is a place for work.
And is it just available to you guys out there? Is it that easy to get? This is for the new parents out there. This is for the new parents out there that are, I believe here in California, we're very open. We're a very liberal state. Everything in California has rights. And one thing that amazes me is some of these kids know more about marijuana than their parents themselves.
That's because...
What age are these kids being exposed to marijuana or the talk about marijuana?
To be quite honest, the moment they're thrown into this world. There's movies, there's songs, there's everything.
Okay, I was raised in the 80s, so I know marijuana was there. It was very illegal, and of course our parents would kill us coming back from that home, strict Hispanic background where we were not allowed to smoke or drink, and I can just imagine my dad. He would probably just beat me until I had some sense in me.
That's still around. It's just the youth today, they're getting restless. They're getting...
Are you guys just bored? Is
To
that
be
why
quite
you go to
honest-
marijuana? Because you haven't found your passion?
That's the
Or
thing.
what draws you guys to
It's-
use marijuana?
For me, it was a lack of understanding. I didn't know what I was living. I didn't know why I was living. But with marijuana, I was able to just be okay with it.
It just amazes me how some of these kids as young as 9, 10 years old are actually using marijuana. They've been exposed. How they get it, where are their parents, I don't know.
That's the thing too. It might sound scary, but parents can't do anything.
They can't do
They
anything.
can't do anything. If your child is looking for something, if it's gonna get it. It's one of those things that you could only have a conversation about. You could only talk to your child about why they shouldn't and what would happen if they do. It's these things where you would tell the child not to smoke, but they don't know what the problem is. I was told never to smoke. I was told to stay away from it as much as I could. But when the moment arose, when I was asked, I was like, yes, of course.
So do you see California in the future? Well, it is a big market. Now, why are the pharmaceutical companies so afraid of medical marijuana?
Because
Why? What's your opinion? I already have my opinion on it, but what's your opinion on that?
my opinion is that it's a big market.
And it's an opinion, it's not a fact, it hasn't been proven, and we're just giving opinions here. Don't go out there crazy saying, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a big problem for the pharmaceutical companies because it's a market that will take away from them not only money, but a lot of research money, a lot of just marketing. It's just basically money is going to take all of it. Marijuana is going to take, not all of it, but most of their money. And they're just not okay with that because they need money. They need money.
They need money. The world revolves around money.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me that the medical community in some way will never find some of the cure for diseases, but then again, medical marijuana would be an option for a lot of the diseases such as seizures, cancer.
Yes, it's people that have done research on marijuana are showing that it cures a lot of things that pharmaceuticals just can't. And instead of, it's an alternative, yes.
It is an alternative. That's the key word, alternative, such as going to a spa versus chiropractor, going to the chiropractor and getting just hooked on other things. You go to the spa and you still relieve that stress. So it's called alternative medicine, which very interesting. I am for alternative medicine. I don't know so much about marijuana, but I do hit the spas. I spend a lot of time on the spas and relaxing myself, and that would be a different story and a different topic for some other time.
The big thing about marijuana, though, is it's CBD that is the curing part. THC is the more psychotic part of the plant. But if we're able to separate the CBD from the THC, then we can make oils that will not only heal, but possibly construct.
And as far as I know, that is the most expensive part of the marijuana, extracting that and giving it to people or little kids with seizures. I believe the last research I came across was $800 per dose.
Yes, that's the other thing, is separating the chemicals is a problem. Not a problem, but yeah, it's a problem when it comes to businesses. That's why it's easier to just manufacture and distribute the flower.
I see that there's a lot, Colorado being one of the biggest growers of marijuana now. I don't recall how many billions or millions these people, the two brothers, right? There's two brothers in Colorado that actually have most of the grounds for marijuana, and they're just making millions and millions and millions, but they pay big taxes on it. So if I was a politician, I would also look at the taxes, that the revenue that's coming into the city because of the sales of marijuana.
It's a big revenue, actually.
It is.
Colorado is having, like, they're having, what are those called? They're basically giving money to the schools, but they're making them compete for it. So I think that's a good, positive influence that marijuana is having in school, in that area.
You know what I find amazing, and by the way, I preach, and this is what I say about Los Angeles, and I preach this on the pulpit many times. There's a church, and then there's a marijuana dispensary right next to the church, and it just amazes me how a church goes up, and then a dispensary goes up, and everywhere you go down the streets of LA, you find a church and a medical marijuana dispensary. Church, medical marijuana. That just amazes me about LA.
Mm-hmm. Well,
What can you tell me about that?
Churches had a lot of gardens in the back. Churches in the past time had gardens, and I'm sure they had spices and herbs in there.
Now, the other thing that surprises me, and I tell a lot of pastors this, the marijuana dispensaries have more teenagers than our church does. Why?
Why? Because.
Why?
Why? Why? Because.
Why are you guys so drawn? Here's the church, and then the neighbors are a medical marijuana dispensary. Here's the Green Cross, and then here's the Real Cross. And you guys go into the Green Cross. Why?
Because the Green Cross is gnarly, man. Like, I can't walk into a church smoking a blunt.
Maybe you find,
I mean,
if you can find Jesus.
I could
know,
walk into a church with a
if you
blunt,
can
but I'll
find
get in
Jesus,
trouble.
we wouldn't have the need for maybe so much supposedly medical marijuana.
So I could either you're telling me to go to a church and find some Jesus guy,
Mm-hmm.
or I can go to the dispensary next door and find myself.
And I was like, where as a church have we gone wrong? I tell these to a lot of pastors when we're at a gathering. I said, where have we gone wrong with the millennials? They're filling up the dispensaries, but they don't fill our churches. And it's like, where have we gone wrong?
You guys
Where?
I don't know. You guys, the church has a lot of problems with self too.
Mm-hmm.
For the one thing, the book you guys are preaching, it's not straightforward. It's one of those things where
I don't think it's the book. Let me just go back.
Okay.
I don't think it's the book. I think it's the people that are put in front of the pulpit that can't preach the real word. The word is already there, and it hasn't changed for the last 2,000 years since the coming of Christ. It's the same book. It's just people approach it in a different way. And I think it has to do, we as a church have gone wrong putting the wrong people in front of a pulpit that don't know how to preach, or they send the wrong messages to the kids. But let me just remind you that the church is a place where, not so much the church, but the Word of God is a place of healing. It is not a place of punishment. And I think a lot of you millennials think that the church is going to punish you for the wrongdoings. And remember that Christ came for the wrongdoers, not for the perfect ones. There's no righteous but Him.